There we go. Lovely. So can you believe it's day 3 of our 5-day workshop series? Honestly, the time just goes so fast.
It goes extremely fast.
Extremely fast. And I think someone that's in charge of the time is speeding that clock up. So tonight I'm going to give you the lowdown on nutrition. So we're going to dispel some myths or put some ease into it. So I'll share my screen and we will get going. I know Briar will be joining us very shortly. All right, that should be the big full screen, is it, Deborah?
Yep.
Marvelous. Okay. So, oh, here she is. We'll just go back a slide so she doesn't miss anything. All right. Perfect timing, Briar. I know you can hear me. So we're just starting, just push the record button. It's a big night. It's going to be a great night. You might want to watch the replay so you can take some notes. I know you're driving, so drive safely. Okay, so except for you, Briar, Deb, I hope you've got your workbook ready because you're not driving, so you can. Okay, so tonight is the all about nutrition, and I'm going to give you the lowdown. It's quite a big night, so there's a lot of information and stuff to tell you. Okay, so I bet that you have literally tried everything, right? Nothing works. Or if it does, it doesn't last it doesn't last, and then it's too hard, and you know, I can't be bothered. That's how it feels when you've tried everything and you think, well, stuff it. I just really can't be bothered anymore. This is my lot. Anybody felt like that?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's okay to feel that way, and it's actually not your fault. And I'm serious about that. It's not your fault. You've been bombarded with like decades of stuff, just with conflicting information, trends and fads and advertising that is really not useful, and it definitely is not truthful. So we're going to dispel some myths and put some ease into this part of your journey. So now we go to Physiology 101. So Deborah, I know that you'll be familiar with some of this. And Briar, I don't know what your education is, but if you've done biology at school, you'll be a little bit familiar with this. So your body is made up of about, I don't know, several trillions and trillions of cells. And out of those trillions of cells, there's around 200 different types, and they're all working together day and night, like a community to keep you well and alive. Now, each cell must make the necessary molecules to survive, grow, multiply, and do its job. That's a lot of work for a tiny little cell. So I've got a picture of a cell here, and I'll go through it in a minute. But to me, this is really incredible. I think the human body is just the most amazing thing that you could ever study. I find it fascinating. So it makes sense to know all this, to put the right fuel in, to allow all that molecular stuff to go on, right? But let's have a quick look at the cell. So Deborah, if you can give me the nod, if you can see my cursor.
Yeah,
I've got a nice lime green one so that you guys could see the difference. Okay, so this is a cell, and you'll see here it's got quite a thick, this is a cell membrane, and it's made up of 2 layers. So it's made up of fat, lipids and proteins. So lipids being fats. So that makes sense that there's 2 nutrients there that we probably need, right? Now, in between the cell membrane wall is water. And I'll get to this in a minute, what this does. But inside the cell, you've got these little energy producing factories called mitochondria. Now, these are really important because these are what create our energy. So if we don't have enough of, or there's another process, let me just explain that. So when your body takes some food, and I'm going to go into this in a little bit more depth in a minute, the glucose derived from that food, from that nutrition, crosses through that cell membrane wall into the cell. And it does that through a process called osmosis. So the water between the two layers of the cell is responsible for that process called osmosis. I'll just let you pause for a minute. The water in between the cell membrane, right? So then it's taken into the mitochondria, where it goes through a process of converting that glucose into units of energy. And then the units of energy are transferred out of the cell through the same process that the glucose came in, through that process of osmosis. Now, the other things that go in your cell is your DNA is produced in there, and also all your cells are reproduced from in here as well. So there's a lot that, and that's just a couple of the things that a cell does. So it's pretty amazing stuff. So the 3 points that I want you to take from this slide is that the cell membrane wall is made up of fats and proteins, and that the cell membrane wall layer is filled in the middle, is filled with water. Oh, maybe a 4th point. The transfer of glucose in and the transfer of energy out. Okay, right. I'm building a picture. So let's talk about the function of water in your body and talk about why it's so important. So let's look at some of the functions. This is not all. So we just talked about the process of getting energy in and nutrition in and energy out. Water comprises of 75% of your brain. Can't make decisions. It protects your body's tissues and organs. It makes up 83% of your blood and 22% of your bones. Incredible. It helps prevent constipation. That's very useful. It lubricates joints. It removes waste. It moistens oxygen for breathing. If you've ever noticed in the winter, if you go, it's really, really cold and you go out for a walk and you get a really dry mouth and you get a sore throat. So that's what it does. It helps convert food to energy. You saw that in the previous slide in the cell, right? And it helps to regulate your body temperature as well. So that's just a few things. There are more, but we haven't got all night. Okay, so let's look at a healthy cell and let's look at a not so healthy cell. So if we have a look at the cell over here, unhealthy cell, so sometimes it can be dehydrated. So you see that the glucose can't get in as effectively. So therefore, the quality of energy and the amount of energy released is also not up to par. So when you're dehydrated or you eat poorly, that's why we feel tired, which affects our mindset. Are you with me so far? So you can see the healthy cell. The nutrients can be easily assimilated and energy sent out into the body. All right, there's a basic physiology lesson. So what does the body need in order for all this to happen? Because every cell and every process and every system within the body needs different nutrients to operate, to have the fuel that it needs to do its processes. So it needs vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fiber, unsaturated fats, proteins, herbs, water, amino acids. Now, there's one nutrient on here that I haven't mentioned. Can anybody think what it is? Brian, you won't be able to answer. We can go without all of these things for, quite a long time, but this one nutrient that I'm talking about, you couldn't go for much more than 2 minutes without it. You'd probably die. It's called oxygen.
That's a trick question.
I know. But it is actually imperative that we do, like when we do breathe, that we breathe properly. So that's what the body needs. But what do we actually give it? Okay. So let's talk quickly about the digestive system. So it starts in the mouth and it ends somewhere south. And I think you know where I'm going with that. Now, we've just identified that nutrients need to be taken in at that cell level, and it doesn't always happen. And we're going to have a look very shortly at why that is. But firstly, let's understand the digestive system. So the body has lots of systems: digestive system, the skeletal system, the muscular system, the endocrine system, and geez, I can't think of any, your immune system. So there's lots of systems in your body but it all runs really off the digestive system, because that's where all the nourishment comes from in order to run everything else. So if we have a look at this, this is where the food goes down your esophagus and into your stomach. It passes through the duodenum into the small intestine. Now, in the small intestine, I'll go to the next slide shortly. This is where the nutrients from your food actually are taken into your body. That's where they're absorbed, and I'll show you how that happens. So then once that's done, anything that's left over, the waste, is taken down through into the colon, and then it's it actually, you can't really see it in this picture, but it actually goes around. Oh, here we go. It does go there. So it goes up into the colon and then down and out. So it goes all the way through the small intestine into the large intestine. In fact, humans are the only animals to literally push poo up a hill. See that? Push up. So this is where the water is absorbed, because the water is removed so that the waste is a good consistency for you to pass out. If you're dehydrated, often people will feel very constipated. So one of the best things you can do is drink a little bit more water. Okay, so that's basically the system, how it works very, very briefly. But let's have a look at why you may not take the nutrients in. So I said before that the nutrients are taken into your body in the small intestine. Now, the surface absorption area is greatened by these little finger-like projections here called villi. All right, so they're like this. Now, often those villi can become energetically impaired. Now, that's due to pollution, smoking, medication, stress, poor diet. Just, there's lots of things that can do that. And you can see this at the picture up here. This is like one of those, in a camera things, that the villi are lying flat and they're not healthy. Now, I do want to say, coming into winter, so you see this dark thing that's surrounding the dark shaded area that's surrounding, that is a membrane. This is actually part of your immune system, guys. So that is a protective membrane that actually protects your body from any greeblies getting in. So if there's a breakdown in that, I think it's a membrane, I think that's what it's called, that's where bacteria can get into your bloodstream, and that's sometimes how we get ill. So really important to work on having really good gut health and keeping it all working well. So when those villi are energetically impaired, even if you are eating organic and really well, you'll still struggle to actually absorb the nutrition from the food because the villi are not operating to their maximum. So that gives you a bit of understanding about the how it all works and how it absorbs in. So how do you balance a meal? Now, I really like that picture on the far right because it shows you a plate, and I'll just go to the plate. So you see on the outside of the plate, there's 0 calories there. It's called fresh air. Plates mostly have a lip like that on them, and the serving sizes are the middle of the plate, not pouring over the end. So somebody did, I'm not sure if it was you guys, was worried about portion sizes. This is actually a really good indication of how your plate should look when you're eating a meal. So how do we balance it with carbs, protein, and all the vitamins and minerals? So here is the starchy carbs, because everything's got carbohydrates in it, in your fruits and your vegetables, but it's the kind of carbohydrates that's got a bad rap is the starchy carbohydrates. So the rice, the breads, the pasta, all that stuff, which turns to sugar basically in your bloodstream really, really quickly. And so the blood sugar levels go up, the pancreas releases insulin, and to bring the blood sugar levels down, and then that brings our blood sugar levels, we get hungry again, and then we eat, and the cycle starts all over again. That's a whole nother training, but that can lead to insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes when it's gone on for a very long time. So here is your portion size of starchy carbohydrates. So it's not saying don't have them, but this is the portion size. So here is your protein. And here also is carbohydrates, but this has got all your vitamins and minerals and your fiber on that half of the plate. So that gives you, it's kind of like a model to base your meals on, that there's more of this stuff and less of that stuff. And we do need to have quite a bit of this stuff, particularly as we're getting older, because, and I'll talk about this tomorrow night, talking about muscle decreasing as we age. So there's many strategies that you can do to balance a meal and have those healthy snacks if you need them. And we'll talk a little bit more about that very, very shortly. But I want to talk now a little bit about hormones. Is there anyone keen to talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've got 5 steps for you guys to burn stubborn belly fat, because that's what it seems to be like at the moment. So I've got a little bit of a formula here, and then I'm going to talk about the hormones very briefly. So fat plus sugar or starch, so we're talking about those starchy carbohydrates that convert to sugar very quickly in the bloodstream, and times that by stress equals belly fat. So I'll say that again. Fat plus sugar and starch taken in together, so that would be like fish and chips, right? Times stress equals belly fat. So this means reducing stress is probably the most important thing. Well, not probably, it is the most important thing that you can do in order for you to get rid of that belly. So you need to prioritize rest and recovery. And I like to call these R&R workouts, you know, rest and recovery. And it's because scheduling in that rest and recovery is every bit as challenging as actually scheduling in your exercise. Every bit. Because people don't value the results that you can get from actually pulling back and doing that type of, so that's like going for walks and stuff like that, but I'll cover that in the next slide. Okay, so here are the 5 steps to help you reduce that female body fat. So number 1 is relax. So do at least 3 R&R workouts. And I've got some examples there. But what they do is they help to lower cortisol, which is what cortisol is a hormone that actually stores fat. So when we constantly live in a perceived fight or flight situation, so cortisol and adrenaline have a purpose in the body. They're 2 hormones that are produced by the body. And back in the day when we were being chased by saber-toothed tigers, then we needed those hormones in order to save our lives. So we would go and we would run. If we survived, then we would be fine. The stress levels would come down and we would carry on normal. But now in modern living, we live in a perceived state of fight or flight all the time, because we've got pressures at work. We've got maybe money issues. We're down on ourselves about our weight. Medication causes stress. Alcohol causes stress. Poor nutrition causes stress in your body. And it's not like the saber-toothed tiger can't find you and then you've got a break in your stress. It's constantly there. Even though we might not be feeling, it's still there. It's in the back of our mind, and the body is ready to go, right? So when the body is in that fight or flight situation or condition, everything shuts down. This all might seem familiar, actually. So when you need to run for your life, you don't need your immune system. So that shuts down. You don't need your digestive system. So that shuts down. Our logical part of our brain, our decision-making part of our brain, or the blood goes from there to the fight or flight center. So decision making is not always 100%. What else happens? So all the blood goes to the arms and to the legs, and you might feel nervous and anxious and all that sort of stuff. So that's, I believe, one of the things that anxiety is born from, too much stress. So that is actually a physiological response to these hormones. And so cortisol is actually a hormone that sees, oh, it's famine. We don't know where our next meal is coming from, so we're going to hold on to this fat. But it comes from a different place now in modern living, because we don't have a shortage of food. In fact, we have sometimes too much. So let's get back to this relaxed thing. Preferably, you know, you need to be engaging in these R&R workouts so that they are relaxing. So whatever it is for you, going for walks, massages, spas, saunas and hot baths are really good. They help to lower cortisol levels. It's been proven, like sex and physical affection helps to lower that. And land meditation. I think I made a little typo there. Any meditation, anything that relaxes you. So schedule those in. That's what I'm recommending. Number 2, walking. Walking is one of the healthiest things that you can do. If you're not doing like, not marching like, you're off to war, but just a nice gentle walk. We were talking about that last night, and that helps to lower cortisol also if you do it leisurely. So I recommend that people shoot for about 10,000 steps a day. Some people find that quite difficult, but around about an hour of moderate walking can get you a good maybe 7,000 to 8,000. And then if you're doing a little bit of extra movement in the day, you'll cream it. Hey, Briar, you're with us. Yay. All right. So the next one. So that's number 3, prioritize sleep. Okay. This is really important. And, I'm really going to recommend that you choose whether or not your late night TV habit is more important than reducing that belly fat, because sleep deprivation is a massive issue for belly fat. And if you can't sleep, then find somewhere in your day to take a nap. That's super important. And later on in the workshops, I'll tell you about my own experience with lack of sleep. And if you can't nap, then meditation is the next best thing. Do you guys engage in meditation at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I've got a really short attention span. I really struggle with. I've got a different way of meditating. Okay, so if you can't do anything of that, just simplify your life so that you can get something in. Like what can go, what can get traded in. Stress management has to be made a priority, particularly on this journey. It's part of your self-care. Now, step number 4 to losing that belly fat is eat less and exercise less, or eat more and exercise more. So the diet world has always said, you want to lose weight, exercise more and eat less, right? So when we're exercising, our body needs to actually get more nourishment to help you repair, recover, and adapt to that workout. Okay, so on the days that you're not moving much, eat a little bit less, and on the days that you're moving more and you're doing training, you can eat a little bit more. Does that make sense, guys? Have you heard that before?
No.
This helps with your hormones and all that too. So because not eating enough and your body trying to recover and adapt to workouts, there's another stressor for your body. And you're feeling tired and hungry, and then you want to go and eat, a horse and its rider, and then you beat yourself up because, oh God, I'm so useless. I didn't bloody eat and I wasted all that exercise. Okay, so it's really about not giving the word I want to say.
Mm.
So I'll just read my notes here. Yeah, so it's important to create a caloric deficit. So calorie is just a unit of energy. and your body needs X amount of units of energy just to keep you alive. And then it's got to support your exercise and your movement and all the rest of it as well. So mostly what I find that clients can't lose weight because they're not eating enough. So I've got one client and she was eating about 900 calories a day, and her basal metabolic rate, which is the actual, you know, the amount of calories that you need, was about 1700. So she was in nearly 1,000 calorie deficit every day. So if you imagine that, you do that over time, and you know, you get, this is where things like chronic fatigue and stuff like that are born from, because your body is distressed and it's malnourished and it doesn't have the fuel that it needs in order to do that job at that cell level. Okay, so you'll find best results with the eat less, exercise less approach. So here's what to do. Now, a lot of people do come to me and ask if I'll do them a nutrition plan, and I don't do it, because if I give you a plan and you go follow it, then what is it? It's a diet, isn't it?
Mm.
That I've written you that doesn't take into consideration how your day's been, what you've been doing in training. It's just something on a piece of paper with some food to eat at a certain time. Okay, and you don't learn anything from that. So that's what this session is all about. So and it's not about following a diet, it's about creating the diet that's perfect for you. Yeah, basically I will not do you a nutrition plan. Sorry. Step 5 is find your carbohydrate tipping point. Now, what does that mean? So it means that don't go too low or too high, right? Because a lot of people, I don't know if you guys have ever tried it, I always get asked, what do you think about intermittent fasting? What do you think about keto? What do you think about blah, 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 the, you know, eat grapefruit diet? Hey, this is what I think. If you're getting the results that you're looking for and you're brimming with energy and you're at the body weight that you want to be at, then you do you, boo. If it's working for you, why would you change it? But if it's not working for you, then maybe this is what I said last night about becoming the detective and finding out what works for you and what doesn't. Now, I know a lot of people have great results following keto diet, or there's the carnivore diet, and you know, great, that's all good. It's just not something that I want to do. So I just want to give you, as I said on the first night, a plethora of strategies and information and tools that you can choose from that menu and practice in your own life and see what works for you. And then you know, and you never have to do this stuff again. How awesome is that? So the carbohydrate tipping point. So, you know, oh my God, another spelling mistake. Jeez. Any short, extreme, chronic dieting is stress on your body. Okay, it all causes stress. So please don't do it. Please. It's all about finding balance within your food, and many people avoid carbohydrates because, you know, they think that they're going to make them fat. It's not going to make you fat. If you're staying within a realm of calories and you're getting good balance in your nutrition, it's not going to happen. But we just have to create a little bit of a deficit every day and weekly and monthly so that your body draws from those fat stores. And then the magic will happen. There'll be a little bit of sticking points along the way. Yeah, so just remember on this journey, I didn't say it on the first night, you have to make peace with sometimes you're going to mess it up. So you have to make peace with that now and it be okay. Otherwise, you do the whole on the wagon, off the wagon thing, and you'll get lots of bruises from falling off that wagon. So a little bit of an extra tip here. One of the reasons the body releases stress hormones is to help release stored sugar so it can be used. So by preemptively giving your body some carbohydrates, some complex carbohydrates, so that's the non-processed ones, that can help reduce some stress. So that might be a little bit before a really hard out workout, or you know, Briar, if you're playing sport, a little bit of carbs before sport, so that you've got that that energy to draw on. But you know, on a weight loss journey, you don't have to worry about it too much. So I don't want to finish there. I want to just see if there's anything on here that you need clarified, guys, because it's quite a lot of information to take in.
Mm,
You may
I think. Oh, sorry.
no, you go.
Oh, no. I thought you were asking us the question. I was just answering it.
No, go. Well, really what I'm wanting is that I know you know, like there's a lot of information here about cells and how it's all crossed over. So is there anything there that maybe you weren't too sure on that you wanted clarified?
I think for me, because I was driving at the same time, and I did have a glimpse of the cell, it still really confused me. But I'm familiar with the villi through Herbalife and that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and definitely familiar with that. So I understand that. It was just understanding the cells and how it works. And
Okay. Cool. Well, let's just go, because you know we can. So yeah, you wouldn't have been able to see this. So here's a cell membrane. The cell membrane, it's got two sides, the inside and the outside and the inside, and they are made of fats and proteins. Okay. Now in between there is water, right? And the water is that when the glucose, so once all the nutrients have been absorbed, you know, through the villi and into the bloodstream in the form of glucose, right? The glucose carries everything in it. That gets crossed over the cell membrane wall through a process of osmosis, and it's the water in that cell wall that allows that to happen. It draws in that glucose. And then the glucose goes through to the mitochondria. Now, the amount of mitochondria, that's a whole nother subject. You can increase and make your mitochondria more efficient and have more of them, but that's a whole another story. So the glucose goes into the mitochondria, and then it goes through a process to be converted into units of energy, which is then sent out of the mitochondria and through the cell wall, through that same process as the glucose goes in. The units of energy are passed out to go to all the muscles and all the cells that require energy. Okay, your DNA is created in here, and all your cells are reproduced in here. So our cells die off regularly. So this is one of the reasons why you might see two 60-year-old women. One will be very wizened and old looking, whereas one might look, say, 45, right? And a lot of that's got to do with the hydration of the cells, quality of food. Did I miss anything, Deborah? You'll know more about this than me.
No.
So, you know, so if somebody's smoking and drinking a lot and eating bad food, that's going to show up, you know, and how the body's working. And if you can imagine that you print out a picture and then you go to one of those old photocopy machines and you take a photocopy of it. And then you color in the original when you've only got the photocopy, and then you go and photocopy that. And then you photocopy a photocopy of the copy, of the copy, of the copy. And pretty soon it gets faded and faded and faded and less quality. Same thing when we're not having good nutrition and hydration. The quality of cell that's reproduced is not going to be great. So by having that nutrition, and it's good that you mentioned that, because I learned all this through my journey with Herbalife nutrition, not through my PT. And I did a nutrition course. They did not talk about this stuff. So yeah, so that's how that works. Now I'll just flip to the next cell one. So you heard about the functions of the body, of water in the body. So here's the unhealthy cell. So, I would even, like, if I'm drawing this on a whiteboard when I'm doing a presentation, I'll put hardly any, there'll be no water in the cells, because that cell membrane wall will be a little bit like a raisin, right? And so the glucose can't get in as effectively or as much. So there's less fuel going into the cell for the mitochondria to then produce into units of energy. And then the units of energy have an issue getting out, but also there's less of it. So assimilation and elimination are vastly inhibited, as it says in that fancy little thing there. But a healthy cell brings the glucose in, the mitochondria go about the job of creating the energy, and then the units of energy are easily transferred out. So that's what you call an energetic, healthy, well body. So it's functioning. It's fascinating, eh?
Mm.
But it's keeping a balance between the lipids and the water, though.
What was that? Sorry, Deborah?
It's important to keep a balance between the lipid and the water, though.
What do you mean?
So the oil, the ratio, we do need majority of water, but you do need a certain amount of oil as well to keep the membrane
Oh,
protected, and also that comes through on the outside.
yes, that's right. So if we're lacking, because like as I said before, that cell membrane wall is made of up of lipids and fats and proteins. So when we're lacking, so let's look a few years ago, I think it might have been the 80s, and the high carbohydrate diet was the big fad. And so people were eating all the starchy carbohydrates, but looking really pale, pasty, and sick because they weren't having enough fats in their bodies. Fat was demonized fat. And so
Yeah.
that was cut, and that had a huge impact, I think, on what we're experiencing today, because people are going more, I think people are getting a little bit more up on the play with fat through the keto regime, I think. But fat's really important. They actually, some vitamins that our body produces needs to have fats. They're fat soluble vitamins, and if we're not having fats, then we cannot produce these vitamins. Yeah. So, and protein. We don't just need protein for muscles. We need protein for cell function. We need protein for immune function. There's all different amino acids that our body needs in order to perform different processes within the body. And they're essential. There's I think 19 essential amino acids. So, having enough protein is essential. It's critical, actually. So, yeah, does that help, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. So there is what our body needs. I think you were still driving there. So vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, fiber, unsaturated fats, a little bit of saturated fats, not bad. I'm a big fan of coconut oil. Yeah, really good oil. Proteins, herbs, water, amino acids, and of course oxygen. That little trick question.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture of the digestive system, Brian?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's where you jumped in. I'll just slowly go through, and if there's anything there, guys, that sticks out.
I was just looking at that plate there, and I'm just looking at my fruit basket here, and I'm sort of going, if I have an apple, I have an orange, they're not meaning all of those things. They're meaning an apple is a portion. Is that right? Am I understanding that right or wrong?
Well, the apple is a portion. I mean, on that plate, if we look at the one that you're talking about, I think it's that one, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not talking about having an apple and a pear. Everything that they've shown there is a portion. Is that right?
Yeah, a portion. So that's probably an easier one that one there, Deborah. So it's giving you choices. So that's your meat, your chicken, or your fish. It hasn't given any vegetarian protein options there, I notice. So this is your starchy carbohydrates. So, your corn, your potatoes, your rice, your pasta, your bread, your pumpkin. Pumpkin is a starch. And then over here, you've got your fruits and your vegetables. So these things have all the different, and it's good to have lots of different colors, because the color that vegetables and fruits have is given to them by a thing called phytonutrients, and they have really huge healing properties within the body. So getting a variety of color within your daily servings of your fresh fruit and vegetables is paramount. Does that kind of clear that up for you, Deborah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
When I said it was a big night, I didn't mean it's a big night going to take us ages. It's just a big night to comprehend everything. So you might want to listen to this again, But here's your fun work. Post in the group 3 things that stood out for you from tonight's session and what you will take action on. So just quickly jot that down now. You got 2 things that you have to do today. And
I've got no idea where to do this stuff. It just doesn't make no sense to me.
right, we're gonna help you out with that.
Okay, so what are we doing? It's video and something else.
Yep, I'll go back to it. Just let me get up Facebook if I can find it. I think this is it. Nope, that's my emails. We don't want to, that's boring. I'll just get Facebook up and okay.
The only thing I could find was, I don't know if it's because I was on my phone and because I never use Facebook, so I don't know if it's just because I don't know.
Okay, we'll go through it. So here's the page, right?
Yep.
All you have to do is click on there. Do your homework, put a photo in. If you want to do a video on your phone.
Wait a minute. That's not what I saw. So
If you're on your phone and you go to Facebook and you go down to your bottom, are you on an iPhone or what are you on?
no, a normal Samsung.
I don't know how to drive those, but at the bottom, you've got your face and then you can go to your groups and you look up the BSB or you search it in the search bar, search up BSB.
Yeah, but you see at the top there, there's not anything that says, what was it behind that other thing there? So is it just going to post in,
Yeah, just go.
because there's nothing that says, so I just go where it's come up and it says write something. I just go and write something.
Yeah, just do that.
Right.
Yeah, but if at the top, you got guides and you can find your in guide 2.
No, I don't. That's the whole point, is I don't have what's up there is I actually don't have. I've got reels, features, photos, events.
What about above that? See where I am here, where it says, oh, hang on, I'll just go to my phone.
No. Got you reels, features, photos, events, files. There's nothing that says anything about.
Are you on your computer right now?
Yeah.
Probably find it on your computer. So what?
My computer's not even hooked up to Facebook, so my laptop, so I won't even be able to, it'll take ages to get it up on there.
Just put it on, just write the post. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just write it there. It'll be fine. We'll find it. We'll find it. Oops, wrong one. Okay, stop the share. And I want to go back to the homework. So this will all be in the group. You guys have been seeing all the posts, the homework posts put up, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first one is to post in the group. Just go write post. 3 things that stood out for you. If you had an aha moment, and then what you will take action on. What's something you're going to practice for the duration. And then the second challenge or fun work is to post a video on your page, not on the group, of what you've learned so far in the challenge and why you recommend that others join one. And tag me in, please. So that's your homework. You can choose to do it. You can choose not to. It doesn't matter. But I do find that engaging in these activities really helps you to get to the next level. So I had 2 people reach out today to join this challenge on day 3. Isn't it funny how we procrastinate about things? I said, oh, look, I could let you in, but we're on day 3 tonight. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to feel like you're like 10 steps behind the ball game. So I'll run another one at some put people on the waiting list. So guys, thanks for joining me. I know that it's a bit late and we're not getting our beauty sleep right now, are we? We should be in bed.
No, it's another 2-3 hours to go before bedtime.
No, especially these when you said that sleep actually contributes to holding on to belly fat. So I need my beauty sleep.
Yes, we all do. We all do.
Don't worry, I tell people sleep, they need sleep as well, but I'm the worst advocate. So I just like, don't do as I say, not do.
Yeah.
So now you have to, and people, it's monkey see, monkey do 10 times worse. People don't learn by words, they learn by energy, they learn by watching, they learn by seeing. So even if you preach it and you're not practicing it.
Oh, well, they don't know that, so.
They do.
I don't tell anybody that. No way. I'm not going to tell my clients that.
Well, I'm just going to cut this video and post it on your Facebook.
You're the last time you do that.
The thing is, Deborah, is that, you know, you're here on this workshop series. You clearly want to make some changes. And it's a lot of changes. I'm going to be the first one to say that 5 days to squash this all into is unsurmountable. But you can go through your workbook. You can watch these videos and treat it like a course and pick one thing every day you're going to practice on until it's like becomes your new normal. Then go back and pick another thing. And, you know, 2 weeks will go by, a month will go by, 6 months will go by, a year will go by. If you've made one change a week, what's going to happen in a year? It's going to go by whether you make the changes or not. It's going to, next year, it's going to arrive.
Yeah.
What you do from here on in, and even if you lost 4 kilos in that year, is that not a good thing?
Yeah.
Even if you changed one thing about the way you felt about yourself, is that not a good thing? So don't discount the tiny little changes that you can make with yourself. Okay, it's really what you do over time that leads. Like, I never promote fast weight loss, never, because it sets people up for failure. It's really unfair, and it's also not how our bodies work, particularly after 45. You know, this is the work, guys. This is the work. So you've got this, and I'm here, and I've been through it, and I know what it's like. So I'm not gonna jolly it up and say just get over it, because it takes some work to get over it.
Well, I sort of feel I want to take these things and do sort of exactly what you've said, is really sort of just sit and break it down and just take time to really just what would not refocus, but just focus on a thing for a few days and sort of go, right, and then move on. Where, as you say, it's all now just and you kind of just want to go, and I want to go and break it down a bit further and really think about things and mutter it over.
What I would recommend is look at your biggest challenges. Your biggest challenges usually come from last night's session. The mindset, the limiting beliefs. Pick one or two things and address those. Now, when I'm working with my clients in the 12-week program, we have a lot more time to do what you're saying, to, you know, set the homework, the fun work, for the practice work, because it's just practicing. And, you know, everyone picks what they're going to do, and there might be 12 ladies on the call, and there'll be 12 different things that people are working on. But you know, just finished my last one. Everybody lost weight. but none of them talked about their weight. They talked about the other pinnacles that they reached, like setting boundaries and you know, noticing that because they stood their ground, that other people in their lives were coming up, you know, and then there was also some very, very difficult and emotional stuff that one of the girls went through, but it came around that she's had the strength and the conviction to walk away from something that was very toxic and not good for her. And she got the strength and the courage to do that. From, you know, there's so many more things than just weight loss that you can get from engaging in this sort of practice. And I really want to encourage you to, you know, to stay the course and focus on you and put yourself first. And, you know, 6 months from now, your life's going to be completely different. If you engage and you do the work, I promise you that. I promise you, your life will be very different.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. That's sort of one of the reasons for doing this, because I know where I'm going to end up is just going to be, starting to very fast go down there. So it just baby.
Yeah, it starts off that you take baby steps and then you get a little bit braver and you start chewing off a little bit more. Yeah, getting started is the hardest part, right, guys? I mean, you know, that angel that opened the tomb for Jesus, you know, on the third day, and he had to push that boulder. He must have been a little bit like that. It's really hard to get that boulder moving, but then once he got it moving, it just rolled away. I don't know where that came from. Oh, sometimes I open my mouth and the stuff just comes out, and I have no idea where it comes from. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a little TikTok that I made tonight in our message group so that you can go to bed on a bit of a laugh tonight. In fact, I'm going to send it to you right now, and then you can have a little laugh, and then we can end the evening and on a really happy note. You love this. This is what I was doing while I was waiting for you guys to get on.
Well, both of us are frantically driving in this crazy weather to get here.
Yeah. But yeah, enjoy that, and I'll love to hear your comments. But guys, have a fantastic night. Thanks for showing up. And when I say showing up, I don't just mean dialing in. I mean showing up and doing, you know, being a part of the process. Thanks. And I'll see you tomorrow night. You guys all good for 8:30 tomorrow night? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So we can actually do 7:30 tomorrow night if you want.
I'm good with whichever.
I'll just be getting home then, so I can do it. But I will literally just be walking in the door. I work until 7.
Yeah, no, let's give you some time to chill out so that you can be a part of it. So we'll keep it at 8:30. No problem.
I mean, you could do 8 if you want to. If we want to go a little bit earlier, we could do 8.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we do 8?
Yeah.
I never do this. This is the only workshop I've ever changed the times on. Yeah, we'll do 8 o'clock. I'll make sure that Julie does the reminders and all that, and I do the last ones. And tomorrow night is about exercise. So I'm going to give you all the stuff about muscles and exercise and how it works, and yeah, what's the best thing to do to lose that belly fat. So
marvelous.
We're going to go and take care of ourselves by having some sort of a sleep therapy thing, shower, smelly candles, and then wind down and go to bed, Deborah, before midnight.
I've got work to do. I can't go to bed yet. I've quite literally got to do work now.
What do you have to do? Have you not just all beautified your clients already?
No.
Right, we're going to have a talk.
Yeah, no, I've got other stuff to do because I had choir practice, and then I've got stuff to do.
Okay, we'll hurry up to it and get to bed. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Night.
Bye.